Yes, I think we have done in last class this particular part, real customer involvement. Basically, what happens in projects when you are working with extreme programming. So I'm recalling all the things that we have done in past, the last thing that we have done. So listen to it. How to involve the real customers, because particularly we talked about on-site customers who are behaving like a customer and who are giving directions to the project. I hope you remember on-site customers. These terms should not confuse you now. Okay. So on-site customers are not real customers. And I told you who can act like on-site customer, the product manager, domain expert, or interaction designer. These three people inside the team can act like on-site customer. But the basic thing is the risk of tunnel vision. I told you it happens like being the on-site customer, you just look forward by yourself as per the profits of organizations, as per the profit of yourself. Then what about real customer? What actually real customer wants? That also can't be ignored. So for that purpose, this particular practice of extreme programming came into existence, that in certain ways you have to involve your real customer, you have to take feedback from them continuously, and you can't avoid them in any way. So these were some of the things that you have to remember, like this personal development. If you are developing something for your personal, for your own use, then what will, how you can involve the real customer, then in-house custom development, outsource custom development. So these particular things we have discussed in last class. Today, we'll start with stand-up meetings. What are stand-up meetings and why they are so important, and what is known as stand-up meeting. I hope you remember the word I told you in Scrum methodology, daily Scrum. Okay, if you don't know, I'm recalling you what is the meaning of this particular thing and what is stand-up meeting. So what happens in extreme programming? No? That it is very important to take uh, every day, to monitor every day's progress of the project if you are working in extreme programming, even in Scrum methodology also. What is the difference between these two? Okay, actually they both are daily Scrum and stand-up meetings. Even in extreme programming also, if people are working together, sometimes they utilize this term Scrum, daily Scrum, that we are conducting daily Scrum, or they even utilize this another term, daily stand-up meeting. So what happens in this one? It is nothing but 10 to 15 minutes meeting that happens every day, and time can be fixed up according to the flexibility of all the people, or product manager can do that inside the team. So what happens in that particular meeting? What things you have to remember in this particular topic? Uh, Overall, from outer side, what you have to remember, this is one meeting that happens every day, and it can go maximum up to 10 to 15 minutes, maximum 15 minutes, not for very long meetings. Uh, why they say so ki it should be very small? Because the reason is every member of the team should be present in that stand-up meeting. No one can be absent. If you want to take any particular meeting with particular member of the team, then you have to conduct separately. That is not called a stand-up meeting. In stand-up meeting, it is mandatory for all to attend. So these two things you have to remember: timing, and every member should have to attend. This is the main part. Now second thing, basically that's why, yes, see this tagline also, that's why they have given the tagline as we know our what our teammates are doing, you know what your colleagues are doing in project. Now there is a good reason that organization hold status meeting. People need to know what is going on. XP projects have more effective mechanism, informative workspace, and daily stand-up meetings. So informative workspace, we have already talked about them. Okay, your workspace should be more informative. Your walls should have computerized screens, or team calendars. Your walls should be comprised of progress charts. So this particular scenario is called as informative workspace. So these are some ways to make the space your working environment in a way that you are really boost up to work, and you are continuously looking at things, what you have to do. So these are certain ways, these are certain practices of extreme programming that keeps your pace going on in a consistent way. Okay. Now, how to hold a daily stand-up meeting? So it is very simple. It can be in morning also, or it can be in afternoon also, it can be in evening also, but a preset time is required. You have to set up a time, and you have to inform all your team members, and you have to conduct that meeting. And each person briefly they have to describe some information, and basically they have to tell what they have done today, what they have done yesterday, what they are planning to do now, in future, next day, or on the leftover day, if it is happening in morning. So some teams use a formal variant of stand-up meeting called daily scrum that I already told you. Now, what kind of questions should be asked in daily scrum that you have to remember? Now listen to it properly. Basically, the question should be like, what did I do yesterday? What will I do today? And the most important and last one, what problems are preventing me from making the process to work on the project? So these three questions you have to remember. Very easy to understand this particular part. You can make your own answers, but don't make it in the way that will lead you out of the scope. Okay, don't write anything as it is. That's why you have to study it thoroughly, what basically extreme programming follows. Then you can, if you have basic understanding, then you can make your own answers. Now, one very important part that I wanted to tell you about stand-up meetings, one problem can occur because of daily stand-up meeting, and that problem extreme programming says is interruption in the day. So sometimes it happens that we have set up the meeting in morning before starting the work. So because of which, what can happen, people, suppose there are 12 people in the team, and they all are waiting for that morning stand up to be conduct at 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And generally it happens in organization, times are flexible, and if some people are coming late, if some people are not on time, then you have to wait for them. You are sitting back idle, and then you are thinking, when this meeting will happen, then only I will start my work. So because of which, extreme programming says yes, this kind of scenario can occur, that it is interrupting your day, it is interrupting your work. That is one problem you have to remember: interruption in the work or interruption in the day. You can remember in that way. So till now I have told you two three things. I will recall you again when I will end up this stand up meeting. Next thing is, be brief about it. When this stand up meeting is occurring, you have to be brief about it. It is not like you have to give all the details of your complete project. So the purpose of basic stand up meeting, of conduction of stand up meeting, is to give everybody a rough idea of where team is right now, where you are standing in the context of your project, in the context of your project. Okay, it is not to give a complete inventory of everything happening in the project, that you have to remember. So listen these words very carefully that I'm telling you, because this complete subject is all about theory, and so you have to relate these things with the situations that can happen in real world. Okay, so that will make you understand things properly. Next thing, in to be about being brief, each person usually needs to say a few sentences about their status, and generally 30 seconds. See this part, that's why I have highlighted this particular thing, I have mentioned this thing here. I will highlight this part, this one. So extreme programming says, when you are conducting a daily stand-up meeting, just provide 30 seconds to each one, each member standing over there. If there are two people, they just get 30 seconds to say about their work, because I think yes, it is enough to talk about your work, because anyhow it is happening every day now. So you can discuss about your things. You just have to tell about your work, what you have done, what you are planning. So more detailed discussion should take in smaller meetings with only the people involved that you want. So that should not be done in daily stand-up. Next, what I wanted to tell you is, benefit of stand-up meeting that you have to remember over here. So listen these words also very carefully. The whole team is aware about issues and challenges that team members face, and it takes action to remove them. Everyone knows the project's current status and what other team members are working on. So that is basically the main benefit of stand-up meeting, that everyone knows about the status of your work. Everyone is aware about what they have to plan according to the other team member status. Also, it can happen that some people are working slow, some people are working too fast, some people are too active, some people are too passive. So to bring them on the same pace, basically these kind of practices are required extreme programming. And yes, it is very good in my perspective also. Yes, it is very good to follow, and extreme programming says if you are following all the practices in all the ways, then your project, you will, what you will get in the last, the product, it will be very good. Now next thing, so this is all about your stand-up meetings that I told you. What I told you in starting, why, what is stand-up meeting, why you have to do this, it is the key points I'm telling you. First one, it is 10 to 15 minutes meeting that you have to remember. Second thing, you can relate this one with daily scrum of scrum methodology. Exact, I think they are very similar. They are kind of very same, and same terms can be utilized. Next thing, that how to hold up a daily stand-up meeting. Avoid it to keep it in morning. Try to keep it in evening time or afternoon time, where everybody is available at correct time. That thing you have to remember. Next one, just be brief about it. Don't give in too much of details, that you have to remember. Last thing, the benefit of it that I told you, that every member of the team will get aware about the status of your work. So that is the main benefit of stand-up meetings. So these are some points that you have to remember. Next thing, we are moving forwards. We are moving forward to me. Yes. See this part is coding standard. What are coding standards in extreme programming, and what things you have to remember in coding standard? Again, it is one more practice of extreme programming. So for those people who are not aware about, who have just joined the class, who are not attending classes properly, for them I'm telling you, okay, what are the things why we are studying these kind of topics, coding standards, stand-up meetings. So basically, your syllabus that I told you in I think second or third meeting, that your complete syllabus is about extreme programming, complete syllabus. And basically how JNTU organized it, that your second, third, fourth and fifth unit are all about extreme programming practices. So yes, extreme programming practices are very much important, and you have to follow it, you have to know about it. And without knowing them, it is not like you can make your answers by your own in all the ways. That is not true. You have to know about it first. So this is again one more practice that you have to know, that is coding standard. And I told you in very brief manner earlier what is coding standard. Now listen to it, what basically is the motto of keeping coding standard, why we have to keep some standards over here in extreme programming. Now what happens, everybody having their unique style to do things, and obviously you have to respect that. But the thing is, okay, what happens if there are 12 members working in one team, and everybody is working their own way, and there are multiple developers, and they are keeping their own standards, they are keeping their own ways to do the coding. Then what will happen, when you will integrate the codes, when you will combine them, then the problem will arise. So that's why extreme programming says keep same kind of standards for everyone, so that that kind of disagreement or misunderstanding between multiple developers will not come up. So that you have to understand this part, why coding standard came into existence and become one of the important practice of extreme programming. So in team software development, what happens, the aim is to create a collective work that is greater than any individual could create on his own. So that kind of motive should be there. And that's why extreme programming suggests creating a coding standard, a guideline to which all developers agree to follow when programming should be there. So that is coding standard. I hope you understood this part, why coding standards are required. Now, next thing, what you need to know, sometimes it happens that different developers, different people in team are following different kind of formatting in the way, different font size, different kind of styles. So what extreme programming says, okay, don't bother about it. Yes, you have to take care of it that they follow same thing. I'm just talking about formatting. I'm not following about the exact guidelines that they have to follow. Exact guidelines means, if you are getting confused about this thing, I will make you clear. Coding standard means that they have to choose what kind of names to the classes should be given. It should be same. What kind of name should be given to the methods, so that when you will combine them, it should not mismatch. But if we are talking about formatting, that means we are talking about the style, the font size, the font style, and the other type of designing styles we are talking about. So extreme programming says beyond formatting means you have to basically you can avoid this part. If multiple developers are writing in different kinds of formats, different kinds of font styles, all in all, in the end, we are just bothered about the coding standard guidelines should be followed in a proper manner. It should not bother me ki they have utilized Times New Roman or they have utilized Calibri font. So that thing should not bother me at all, as a stakeholder or as a like user of that code. So let's go through this line. I hope you understood this part. A consistent formatting standard is good. Yes, it is good. If you agree on any particular one standard, any one particular format, then it is good. However, when you are putting together a coding standard, don't fall into the trap of arguing about formatting. So see over here, extreme programming says only this thing only ki don't get yourself into the arguments over formatting. You can avoid it. Let it be. Whatever developers want to follow format, let them do that. So there are some other important issues to be focused on. So that is all about extreme programming. Extreme programming says about the formatting in coding standards. Last thing, very important part of coding standard, how to create a coding standard. So the first and foremost thing that you have to do is to create a minimal set of standards on which everyone will get agree. As a product manager, project manager, also one person can do that. That they are creating some minimum standards initially, and they are starting coding after that. Second one, focus on consistency and consensus over perfection. So it should be like same kind of things are following time to time, and that pace should be maintained, that you have to remember. Now the best way to start your coding standard, listen this part what I'm telling you. The best way to start your coding standard is usually to select an industry standard style for your language. This will take care of formatting questions also, and it will allow you to focus on design related questions also. Now, some important points that I have written over here that should be there. I will highlight this one. Uh, this particular part I am talking about. Okay, I'll utilize different color. See this one, this particular part which I'm highlighting with yellow color. So these are some important standard points, and you can say starting points also. So which you on the basis of which you have to make coding standards. So what should be the development practices? First thing, what kind of IDE developers have to use, what kind of tools developers have to use, it should be same. The file and directory layouts, same kind of layouts they should follow. Conventions, error handling approaches to events and logging, designing conventions. And some things, yes, you can avoid, no problem about it, but the main things is like some of the development practices, tools and IDE, and you can say the error handling practices and conventions. These are very important ones to be in the context to make coding standards for your extreme programming methodology. So yes, that's all about your coding standards. I hope you understood it. What I told you, the main points you have to remember about in coding standard is, okay, what is coding standard? Why we are following coding standard? What is the need of coding standard? First part. Second one is you can avoid formatting thing. Okay. Third one, how to create that coding standard, what minimum things you have to remember. So on the basis of which particular things, in context of which things, you can make your coding standard. These are the important points that you have to remember in this particular topic. Now I'm moving forward to the next one, and that is iteration demo. I hope you remember this term. I have continuously using this particular term, iteration demo. So what this iteration demo is, basically, if you remember the life cycle that we have done in our second class, I think third class, yes, after Scrum methodology, that what what that life cycle was telling us, कि there are some phases of planning, analysis, designing and coding, after that testing, and finally deployment. So when we are working together in all these phases, then we have to deploy one part of the project to the stakeholder, to the end user. Okay, we have to deploy it, we have to deliver one part, and that complete thing, that particular thing, working on all the phases together and deployment, delivering one part, it is called as one iteration demo. And it usually happens in 1 week in extreme programming. If you are just talking about extreme programming, then yes, usually they keep the ambition or aim of delivering that one part in 1 week. So that you have to remember in this particular thing. I hope now you can recall things what we have discussed about iteration demo. Now see it, it is not like you can avoid it. It is very crucial part of extreme programming. And uh, people who are working on extreme programming, they follow this thing in a very strict manner, that you have to work on your things and you have to deliver some part of your project. You cannot avoid it in any manner. Okay, so that's why they say extreme programming is fast enough to deliver the projects, to deliver the products. Okay. Now, what I wanted to tell you about iteration demo over here is, okay, basically iteration demo is one of the very powerful thing in extreme programming. The first part that you have to remember about it is, it is concrete demonstration of the team's progress. I hope you remember the term velocity. I told you it is in the topic of sustainable pace. Now, whenever I am doing this, whenever I am saying these particular terms, sustainable pace, velocity, you should be aware about these terms, because these are the very crucial terms, XP practices that can come over in your exam also. So, velocity and sustainable pace means how much your team is developing in one iteration demo, and that pace, that consistency should be maintained for next week also, and the next week also, and further on. So that is sustainable pace. So what is happening over here, it shows how much your team is progressing, how much your team is providing in context of velocity, how sustained your team is. So that is basically a vision towards that particular thing. And the team is proud to show off its work. Obviously, if you are working well, you're really like, you really like it not to show off, yes, I have done it and I have completed it in complete before deadline only I am submitting it. So for stakeholders also, another very positive point, the stakeholder, the people who are interested in project, who are investing in the project, and they will also be happy. They will also be happy about it. Okay, yes, I am getting something functional. Okay. So next thing, the second thing, the demos, the iteration demos, it helps the team to be honest about its progress. Everyone will be aware about it. Okay, yes, this person is working that much, that person is working this much. So that is another benefit of iteration demo. Now these iteration demos are open to all stakeholders, and some companies can even invite external customers also to attend. So how this iteration demo happens, when this product will be delivered to the stakeholder, one person of the team, I'm not saying a project manager or domain expert or some authorized person. I'm just saying one person of the team has to give this particular demo of that small part, small release of the product in front of those stakeholders, and even the stakeholders can invite other peoples also, external customers also, to see yes, how this team is working on this particular project. Next, finally, what you have to remember in iteration demo in this particular part, I'm just talking about this iteration demo in main things that you have to remember. The first one is its demonstration about the team's progress. Second one is uh, being honest about the progress, and all the stakeholders and other and companies, external customers also can attend the demo. Last one, it is an opportunity. This iteration demo basically provides an opportunity to take regular feedback from the customers. So that is also a very important part. Feedback, if you remember, it is one of the core values of extreme programming. Feedback, I hope now you know the term feedback in terms of extreme programming. So it is a good chance for you to take feedback from the customers. Nothing speaks more clearly to stakeholders than working usable software. The person who has to utilize that particular product or that particular project in the last, best he can only tell what he wants. Okay, so that's why it is good to take feedback on regular manner, and iteration demo provides that kind of scenario too. Now last thing that I will discuss in today's session is how to conduct an iteration demo. So what you have to do, basically, one thing that I just told you, that iteration demo can be conducted by any one team member of the complete XP team. But yes, if authorized person is ready to give it, it is good. It will be effective to outside people. It makes a good impression that yes, the leaders are completely active with the projects, and they are taking complete interest in the thing, and they are not just putting everything on team members. So it is a good, like you can say, the impression on outsiders or the stakeholders. But it is not mandatory, it is not at all mandatory. Okay, so that thing you have to remember. So you can we can go through over this line. Anybody on the team can conduct the iteration demo, but I recommend that product manager do so. And because why so, if product manager is active in all the ways with the team, then he has complete understanding about the stakeholders point of view also. Another thing I will highlight over here, when I'm saying he is having best understanding this particular part of stakeholders point of view, what is the meaning of it? Because product manager, if you remember, he is the person who can act like on-site customer also. So obviously he is acting like your customer also internally inside the team. So they think in all the ways a customer can think of. I will not say all the ways, but yes, almost all the ways that customer can think of. And that's why he can be the best person to give that demo, iteration demo. So that's it, I think, for this session. That's it. But I will continue little bit more about iteration demo in next class, and then we will move forward to the next topic. Okay, so that's it from my side. Tell me if you are having any doubts. Please message me in chat box or unmute yourself to speak up. Nothing. So I'll consider it like a yes, we are done. Okay then. Bye. See you tomorrow.